Some people say that diamonds don't grow on trees. Those people are wrong. Hello, my name is Trydar, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a diamond tree in Minecraft. Let's get started. Alright, I hope the intro is good because I haven't seen it yet. Because today we're going to be doing a little bit of a different type of tutorial. Usually I will split things up into phases and give you a materials list and sort of, structure the entire thing out. But today we are going to go on a different tack. What I'm going to show you here today is more of a thought process than a paint by the numbers type of tutorial. Because as you can see behind me here, I have yet to build the tree that you have already seen. So we are going to be taking this from absolute scratch. Alright, so a diamond tree. What would a diamond tree look like? It'd obviously be made of diamonds, don't you think so? And after that, we need to find a location, which I guess we'll do it around here. So we need to select some materials. Obviously, we need diamonds, but we can also use a diamond ore. And I think for this, we want to also incorporate some glass. For the leaves, probably some blue stained glass, and perhaps some light blue. And we will need some panes of those colors as well. Light blue panes and regular blue. I think also some end rods. And let's see, I think, what about some lapis? We already have the blue family color scheme going, so let's keep going with that. And I think that this here would make a suitable palette. So let's start with that. So the first thing we will need to do is build our tree trunk. And that's how I usually approach this. So we're going to, we're not going to make a huge tree, but we are going to make enough of a tree that I can demonstrate my thought process to you. So for the tree bark, I think that diamond ore would be appropriate to use here. So let's build this up here. Now this is sort of what a default Minecraft tree trunk would look like, but we want to make this a custom diamond tree, so it just has to be that little extra bit special. So let's actually go ahead down here and add some roots to our diamond tree. Sort of build them around like this here. And as you can tell, this is going to be a unique block by block type tutorial. I generally don't do these because of the amount of time that they take. We can do a little bit better job on the roots, I think. Perhaps off like that. Maybe let's not get too complicated with the roots, actually. Let's trim these back just a little bit. Let's see. Maybe about like that there. Doesn't look too bad. Let's extend our tree trunk upwards a little bit more. As I've said, we want to have our tree trunk sort of bend around a little bit. So let's add some blocks on the side here. Remove those. Let's leave a block for connection's sake. And let's have it start turning off in maybe this direction over here. And that downwards a little. A bit more up and over this way. We're going to need to play around with this until we have a general shape that we like. That's not too bad. It's leaning off in this direction, but that's going to be okay. Actually bend our tree trunk just a little bit more back in this direction. Like that there. Perhaps like that. Take a look at that. All right, that's not too bad. I think that's going to be a decent height for a custom diamond tree. And what we need to do now that we have our roots and our tree trunk is, of course, to add some branches. And we will do that with yet more diamond ore. And these are going to be a little tricky. We need to pick locations on these that will look somewhat interesting. We want to go off to the sides here. Not too bad. Let's go up a little bit farther on our tree trunk and maybe go off in this, well, go off in this direction over here. And I think upwards a little bit. Go back this way. As you can tell, we're doing sort of a Bob Ross style build here with the live commentary and trying to figure out things as we go. So hopefully you will find this of use in your building techniques, because that's really what I'm trying to show you here. Not so much a paint by the numbers type tutorial as much as a thought process that you can use to design your own custom trees. All right, I really don't like how this is going here, so let's just trim that back and start again. If you come out with a branch that you don't like, it's of course acceptable to do that. You don't have to keep going with something that isn't working. You need to know when to sort of cut your losses on a branch. Not too bad. I think that we want to have our branches spread out towards the top here a little bit. So let's add some smaller branches up along here. Be like that there. We will extend our tree up just a couple more blocks. And perhaps out in this direction for a couple of blocks also. I think we haven't done anything in this direction, so let's sort of fill that in a little bit. Like that there. And we want to try and fill our tree out as best we can in all directions. So I think let's take a look at this from the top down and see what is lacking. So we haven't done anything much in this direction over here, so let's try and add a branch. Let's drop down, I think, what, here? It's a little lower. It might be a little bit too low. Go in, what? In this direction here. And up a bit, I think. Alright, so let's take a look at this from all angles. See if anything... This one looks a little bit too straight. I think we want to curve it up a little. Like that there. The same for this one over here as well. Like that there. Perhaps another block here. So we'll remove that one. That one also. Alright, let's take a look from the top down again. Let's see, we've got several branches going off in this direction. This spot down here, this looks a little bare. So what can we add over here? Perhaps this here. Move a couple of blocks. All right, let's spin around our tree. Got a decent canopy going. I think let's take a look from the top down again and see what we have here. All right, it looks like we have what? 6 main branches going off in either direction with a central 7th branch on the top there. Not too bad. All right, so I think now we are ready to use some of our other blocks to put some leaves on this. And for our enchanted diamond tree, we will use what? Some lapis and some blue stained glass. for that. So let's go to our branches and just sort of put down some leaf blocks. Because we can't have bare branches, we have to put something on them. And I'm sort of doing these semi at random. I am kind of picking the locations, but I'm not being too picky about them. Because for these, especially these organic shapes, you have to place down blocks and then come back and knock them out and place them again until they look right. It's sort of a skill that you have to develop, really. The more trees that you build over time, the better you will become at doing this. And that is, of course, true with most things in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And Minecraft is no exception. Alright, so I think we placed enough lapis. So let's lower down around here and see what we've got. Alright, our tree looks a little bit bare, so we definitely need more leaves than that. Perhaps a couple there. A couple of blocks here. We're not going to use exclusively lapis, but we're doing this as a first pass, and then we will add in the glass to really sort of fluff everything out, I think. We don't want to cover over all of our diamond branches with lapis. There's probably some blocks here that will end up getting hidden. That one doesn't work. Let's see there. Perhaps one here. Perhaps one there. All right, let's take a look from the top down and see what we've got. All right, so our tree is getting a little bit thicker. We can see that from the shadow on the ground here, from the shaders. I think now we can use, let's go with the blue stained glass first and cover over pretty much all of the blocks. We will definitely cover over all of the exposed diamond door here for the branches at this phase. And we will kind of place them randomly. We don't want to cover over all of the lapis, I think. Because that will still be visible. This is the longest and most tedious phase of building custom trees. By the way, it's one of the reasons they take so long, because you place down your blocks and you have to look at them and then place some more, look at them again. And that is really what I spend quite a lot of time doing, actually, when I'm building things. I will build something and then I will sit and look at it for however long until I think of something. And during this time, I'm sort of thinking about what I can do, sort of quickly building things, sort of in my head, really. And trying out different things with my imagination. And keep placing those. We've got a couple of branches that we haven't hit it with glass yet. So let's do that. And I want to show you the entire process. So I'm probably going to be rambling a little bit as I do this, because I don't really want to do a jump cut or anything, because as I've said, what I'm trying to show you here is a thought process and not so much a thing of just place block here and there and over here. And hopefully you will find it to be of some value. All right. What haven't I placed yet? Let's take a look from the top down. All right, so we can see that our branches are getting a little bit more fluffy. But I would like them to be more fluffier than this. So we're going to go back to lapis for a moment. and place some more of that. Let's try and make the leaves on the branches a little bit flatter, I think, for the whole thing, and not just don't just follow the contour that we put down for the branches. That's okay to do for your first pass, but after that you want to try and add some shape to your tree. And if some of your branches end up sort of connecting and colliding with each other, that's going to be okay too. We kind of want to have that effect because trees tend to do that. And we want to make a natural, sort of organic looking shape, given that it is a diamond tree. So we want to approximate what we would do with leaf blocks, but with a different palette of material. All right, let's take a step back. This here looks a little bit too flat on that face there. Especially doing it with the stained glass, it's going to make things a little bit harder to see as we go, especially when we get to using the light blue stained glass. We will do right now. So let's go around with the light blue stained glass and sort of cover over everything, and this will help bring everything together. So I think all of the exposed lapis that we've put down, let's cover that over with the light blue stained glass. That branch done, so let's do this branch up here, like so. I think we will try and cover over all of the exposed lapis. Maybe there will be a couple of places where we don't do that. Okay, let's hit the top here with the same sort of technique. And at this phase, things are getting much more messy. So we can sort of spam our blocks around and not be all that careful with it. But we're going to have to slowly go over all of the blocks to cover the lapis, and as the tree gets bigger and bigger, this takes, of course, more and more time, which is one of the reasons I'm trying to make a smaller sort of tree here to show you the technique. And you can, of course, scale this up to any size you feel like doing in your world for as many diamonds as you have to showcase in this way. And shadows is sometimes getting a little bit harder to see. So we need to slow down a little. Not cover every single block. Let's cover that gap in there. So what this here also. This on the very top there. And this around over here. A lot of fiddly block placement. And I think once we get done with adding the light blue stained glass, we will take a step back and look at our tree and see where the obvious holes are that we need to add some more blocks. I think we've got one branch remaining over here on the side. So let's attend to that. Like so. Well, got that spot underneath there. Going to be very complicated to do as the tree gets bigger, as I've said, because of the amount of time it takes to place the blocks and everything. If you're doing it in survival, this is going to take quite a lot of time to do these phases, so you might want to build like a dedicated scaffolding all the way around your tree to make things easier to access. All right, so let's take a step back and see what we've got so far. All right, so we have fluffed out our diamond tree quite a bit. We want it to look symmetrical, but also asymmetrical at the same time, as trees usually do, because trees will follow a standard pattern, but they will all have subtle variations in that pattern as you look closer. So let's take a look down here from the ground, see what we've got. Look too bad. So take a step back from a distance and sort of look around. See if there are any obvious holes where we should go in and add some more glass. I'm not really seeing any, actually. I think we might have done a decent job on this. Yeah, maybe a couple of blocks there. And perhaps here? No. Okay. Perhaps over there. Like that. Sort of add a little fringe of glass on the outsides here. To make our branches maybe be a little bit more bushy and less flat. But because we're choosing to do this with glass, it gets a lot more complicated, especially with the shaders that make everything super translucent. I think if I were doing this not for a video and right in front of you, I'd probably choose a different material to use, probably like a red wool or something, and then change that to the glass with MC Edit. But if you're building this, say, in survival on a server or something, you don't really have that option. So I'm trying to show you something that you can actually use to replicate. A couple of blocks. No, it doesn't work. All right, so let's take a top-down view. Our tree looks reasonably bushy. We can see by shadow there. All right, so at this phase, we are now ready to add the real showpiece, which are going to be sort of the diamonds hanging down off our tree like fruit. And we're going to do that by adding first regular blue stained glass and then light blue at the ends of those. And then on the bottom of that, we will place our diamond there. So we have a diamond fruit hanging off of our tree here. And we're going to need to add several of these, I think. I suppose we could even add under there maybe perhaps an end rod for lighting's sake to light them up. I don't know if I want to do that yet, so let's save that for the moment. Another thing we can do inside the tree while I'm thinking about that is we can pick holes that are rather dark and put maybe an end rod in them. Like that there. I'm not sure I want to do that just yet, so let's just remove those and go back to adding the diamond fruits. So we want to have these hanging down off of our tree branches. And we want to do these at sort of random spots. There. 2 panes there. And, okay, that we will now have this one hanging down as far as its neighbor over there. So let's break this and move that one farther up, and also have the light blue stained glass pane there. All right, so as I said, we do want to have these hanging down, but we want to have them at staggered heights. It looks a bit more natural that way. So let's add one over here. I think, like so. Perhaps a couple at the tall branch up here. I think I want to add another pane there, and then add that there. All right, so let's take a step back. So I think this gives you the idea, but I do want to add a couple of more of these. I think we've added what, 5? I think we need to add like 12. Let's go around the tree and keep doing that. So let's add a little stem here. Diamond block on the end of that. That's a little too low. Hang that one there instead. Don't have any off this branch up here. So let's come in with the panes again. Add one there. I think that could hang down an additional block. Like so. We need to have just a couple more on this side of the tree. Yeah, that's a little bit too far towards the edge of the canopy. We want to have these hanging under the tree and not just off the very sides of it. So there's only going to be so many useful spots to place one of these. This one looks good. Like there. Perhaps a couple of blocks low. One more. Ugh. Breaking blocks that I don't want to break. There we go. Make the stem a little bit darker. We want to have sort of a color gradient on these stems, by the way. When we want to have the darker ones near the tree and the lighter ones near the diamonds. Now let's take a look from beneath here. So there's kind of a hole in this section, so we want to add some around here, I think. And put it in the wrong place. Right, that doesn't look too bad. Let's get some distance on this and see. We want to have our diamond blocks hanging down with a good distribution. So there's kind of a hole around here where we should place something, I think. Perhaps right here. Can have another one. Perhaps a block lower. There we go. All right, this side of the tree looks a little bit more heavy than this side, so we need to find another place around here somewhere. How about right here? Right here. It'll work. All right, that's at the same height as that, so it needs to be one block lower down. Like so. There. All right, let's go back and take a look at it. That looks a little bit better. We balanced out the tree a bit more. Take a look from this side. That looks pretty good with the distribution there. We want to give our diamond blocks to have the appearance of randomness, even though we are very intelligently placing these. Yeah, all right. I think that's probably going to be enough, I think. So this should give you an idea of how you can create your very own enchanted diamond tree. I imagine like this is for the person that has entirely too many diamonds in their ender chest and they want to flex on their friends. So you could build a couple of these trees around your base. Be a nice addition, I think, if you want to just sort of showcase your diamonds instead of just piling them up somewhere. You can place them in this nice tree pattern here. Other things you can do with this tree is obviously to scale it up. Like if you have a whole lot of diamonds, you can make like a giant version of this type of tree. Also, if you don't have diamonds, let's say if you have some emeralds, you can use the emeralds here like in place of the diamonds, but you would want to use sort of an emerald ore for the blocks, and you would replace the blue here with a green color palette. Say lime stained glass and green. Other things you could do is also choose perhaps a redstone tree, because it has a corresponding ore block actually. Like anything that has a corresponding ore block, you can make this out of. Like you can make a gold tree with gold blocks and gold ore, say with yellow stained glass, and an iron tree if you so choose, a coal tree, which I'm not sure anyone needs a coal tree actually, but a lapis tree you could also use. Indeed, if you don't want to use the diamond ore for this tree, you could use some lapis ore instead for the bark here. For this one, that would be an acceptable substitution if you're low on diamond ore, but you have a lot of blocks. You can use that as well. And also, as I said, the redstone tree, the emerald tree, and I don't think anyone should build another quartz tree, actually. But you can if you want to, I suppose. You could probably build that out of, what, netherrack? And the red stained glass, that would look probably somewhat decent. Perhaps some magma blocks for the tree trunk. But that's going to conclude the diamond tree tutorial. I believe I have told you everything that I know about making these sorts of trees here. Hopefully you've learned a few things that you can use in your own worlds to make your own versions of these trees. I imagine everyone's tree will be slightly different. You don't have to do it exactly as I have done here. And as I've said, you can use a whole bunch of alternate materials to make this sort of tree as well. So I want to thank you very, very much for watching, and I'm now going to go record the intro, and I will see you next time.